Well, I've done ADR for TV.
Okay.
And so you go into those studios and you'll be like, you do one episode and you in there like, I said no. Running, Brandi. I said no. They're like, well, you got to be sad while you running. I said no.
First I got your voicemail, then I got you. But we can meet in person or maybe on Zoom. So tell me what's your genre, tell me what do you do? I'd like to know the things that specifically make you.
Hey there, I'm Tim Barnes. You are the genre, and in every episode of this podcast, I ask a great new guest about the first genre that inspired them, the first craft that they pursued, and how they feel about that first pursuit now. And it's all because I think that those are the questions that, one, I tend to end up asking no matter who I'm talking to. Those are those are things I really want to know about people. And two, I think that those questions help guide you in general towards what your actual goals are. Even if you already know your goals, I think your answers to these questions are very interesting. I just love finding out what those answers are. And this kicks off what's going to be a series of You Are the Genre interviews with some of the actors, writers, and crew members of a scripted audio series that I have out right now called Judge Travis. At this moment, the first 3 episodes of Judge Travis are available. You can find them anywhere you get podcasts, but if you need help searching for the right way for you to listen to episodes of Judge Travis, go to judgetravis.com. And as I mentioned in a bonus episode of this podcast a week or so ago, Judge Travis is a true passion project. It's something that I care deeply about. And part of why I care deeply about it is because it's not just me. Even though this is a show that I created, that I directed, that I show ran, what I love about being a showrunner is that you're basically shepherding a vision that involves so many people, so many talented audio wizards, so many talented voice actors, so many talented writers. So credit-wise, I am the writer of the first 3 episodes of Judge Travis, which are out right now. And coming up this Wednesday, episode 4 of Judge Travis will be available. And that one is written by Rebecca O'Neill. It's very funny. I'll be interviewing her here pretty soon, probably next week. You'll hear that one. And highlighted prominently in her episode of Judge Travis is Brandi Denise, who plays the bailiff. We have Bashir Salahuddin from Southside playing the judge. We have Langston Kerman from Insecure and all kinds of other wonderful shows. He's playing the point of tension with the judge, the producer character of the show named Jax. And in episode 4, written by Rebecca O'Neill, Brandi Denise really starts to shine as a character. So I felt like this is a good moment to bring you into the world of everything that is Brandi Denise. I'm so proud of bringing her on board this project. I feel like she has a very unique voice. I feel like she is definitely a star. She's an actor, she's a comedian, and she's known for her standout roles in shows like Power, Power 2, Ghost, and BET's Games People Play. And she rose to viral fame for her unforgettable guest appearance on an episode of Abbott Elementary. It sparked widespread buzz for her performance because it really does seem that in this small part, in this one particular episode of Abbott Elementary, that she made Quinta Brunson, the person, perhaps cry. Like that's how intense that scene was, and we talk a bit about that in this episode. So I'm excited to dive into it. A part of this episode is me showing Brandi for the first time some of the clips from the show because we recorded this interview near the end of last year, and so she hadn't heard any of the episodes. So there's a teaser for her in this episode of episodes of Judge Travis. And one of them is even from an episode that's not even out yet. It's not even going to be out this week. It's going to be an episode coming out in a couple of weeks that's written by Ben Holbrook, one of the other writers. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I hope that you decide to subscribe and listen to Judge Travis. It's basically, the North Star of creating the show is that it's kind of a combination of the Larry Sanders Show and the Bernie Mac Show. And if you happen to like those 2 shows, I think that Judge Travis might be the perfect sitcom for your ears. But that's enough about that. Let's learn everything that we can about Brandi Denise right now. Enjoy. Well, okay. So I'm recording now. You just said you're very chill. They're about to get real, Brandi. You're eating. What are you eating?
A beautiful acai bowl.
So this is the first episode of this show, or or of this promo thing for Judge Travis in which it's also ASMR. You're going to be eating throughout this whole.
I thought that.
I think that you are a voice that really brought this Judge Travis thing to life. And what I love about your voice is that it is you. It's not, for this character, I really wanted someone who felt authentic, not in an overacting sort of way. And you really took off with this role. So have you heard any of the episodes yet?
No.
Okay. I have some clips to share, and I'd love to get I have 3 clips that I want to share with you.
Right now?
I'd love to get right now. Yeah.
Oh,
So this is your this is your live reaction. Okay, so what's fun about this first one I'm about to share with you is that for the most part, outside of some scenes with you and Bashir, who played the judge, you were not interacting with anybody. So for some of these, this is your first time. So this first clip is from episode 2, where Raquel is demanding a raise, and so you're going to hear yourself interacting with Langston Kerman playing Jax for the first time here.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. Okay.
Those stern footsteps in the distance are from Raquel, the show's bailiff. She wants to talk to Jax about...
We were supposed to talk about my raise. We've had a meeting scheduled for weeks now, but I haven't seen you in your office.
Oh, yeah, look. It's not going to happen. The network's hounding me about...
Now, how can you say that? You haven't even heard my case. Ain't heard it, ain't seen it, ain't read it. I'm literally the most underpaid bailiff on TV. We got a group chat, just so you know.
Yeah, but...
But what? I'm paid far below industry standard. Yeah, I'm the most popular bailiff online. I'm hashtag Nailiff. The Nailiff who's racking up debt to maintain this image. You think these double XL ballerinas with the pearls under my cheek?
Let's not drag Lizzo into this.
My nail account has more followers than this show. I deserve this.
Really on it. I love the way y'all like overlapped it. It really sounds like I'm really running up on him. I like it.
Awesome. Okay, so the second clip is you reading over Jax's shoulder a text that came through Shirley, the wife of Judge Travis's cell phone.
Damn it. Forgot I have Shirley's phone. How do I... Oh, my goodness.
Wait a minute, what?
Shirley got a text from someone listed as Boo Thang.
Oh, let me see. Oh my God. It says, please, I'm begging for consent to rock your world tonight. Water drop emoji, tongue emoji.
Maybe it's a delayed text from Percy?
No way. The judge is old school. He thinks consent is a pastry. Now, this right here, this is Kermit swag by someone young, somewhere damn near postmodern. Like, it belongs in a museum, and one of those museums with art, where it looked like everything in there was just made by a toddler, and they didn't give a fuck, and everybody just want to spend all their money on it. Oh, and speaking of museums, look at this white chiseled chest selfie they sent Shirley.
They toddlers and they just give a fuck. That's something Brandi would absolutely say.
Yeah, I think that's actually like you riffing off of the actual lines, which is great. Yeah. Okay, so that energy ties into what is one of my favorite clips from the whole show, because the only people who got to interact in person were you and Bashir. And there's a moment in this scene where you both of you start riffing outside of the confines of what was in the script, but it's so brilliant. And when I was in the room watching this happen, it was the first time that I felt relief, because I was like, the show really works. Like the dynamics were immediately there. So here's how that scene turned out from episode 6.
Is this a sleeper? And all those wig hairs? What you be doing in here?
What it is my sofa. Sit over there. You a bailiff, not Matlock. Damn.
Why was that case so exhausting?
Because people are stupid. Damn, I keep telling Jackson, give me the juicy cases. Stripper disputes. Mid-level politicians going wild, but a lawsuit over a man having too many turtles?
27 is way too many, and I'm glad you made him pay.
If he didn't want to get sued for all them turtles, his ass shouldn't have come in my courtroom looking like Master Splinter.
And yo, what was up with that sweater? Looking like he fresh out of jail, Cosby.
I had the nerve to sit in my courtroom looking like a damn sharecropper. Holes in everything.
Ooh, and the way he was ashy.
Couldn't tell from the bench. How bad was it?
Knuckles looking like he got into a fist fight with some cocaine.
Damn, looked like he was choking out a bag of flour, huh?
It looked like he was hanging out with Rick James.
Looked like he took a shower hours ago and never lotioned up.
Never lotioned up, never washed his ass. Just crusty.
Probably had a smell, too.
Hey, Percy.
Y'all really should be knocking on my door before you just barge up in here.
So how did you feel in that moment? Like, it must have been... So first of all, you came in like right fresh off of doing your first Tonight Show set.
Mm-hmm.
So you had some industry heat behind you. You were in Vulture's like top whatever comics, and then you came in to do this. And like, did you?
Hulu special.
Oh yeah, and you just done that. I feel like something with Kevin Hart. I remember there was so much going on.
I remember coming in just excited to work, but working with Bashir, I had never worked with him before, and just seeing him work, because I got to watch him a little bit before I jumped in, and I was like, oh. Like, we can really like make this our own and stuff like that. Cause, coming from the stand-up world, like you had just mentioned, I came from the Tonight Show, and I had just done, everything that you had mentioned was stand-up. And I've done acting and I've done theater as well, but it's different. Stand-up is very much your own voice, your own opinion. When you get a riff, you don't have to run it by anybody. You don't have to get any network approval. And so it's very authentic and genuine. And sometimes when you are doing scripted things, even if you're not feeling it or you're not vibing with it or whatever, even if you are, some people are really sticklers about the exact way you need to say things, not the exact way, the exact wording. And so getting to see him just be funny with the script, but also naturally funny, it just made me feel a sense of relief. Like, oh man, like, I can also I could tag. I could throw in tag. I don't have to feel like I have to hide. And if I feel like a motherfucker go there, a motherfucker go there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I like this. Yeah.
Was it a scary moment at all? Because what blew my mind about it was that it just clicked immediately. It wasn't like, is a moment like that like a little scary? Like even if you were to say like do a live radio spot or something, and it's just like, this was a moment where it was the first time, and he kind of set you up for it too. Like he opened up the path for the riffing. I forget what the last line in the script was, but there's a specific line in that last scene that we just played where he just like it's like ping pong. He opens up the door for you. And do you do a lot of improv and things like that? Like what's
Yeah. I'm a graduate of conservatory. I mean, I went to UCB. I was the lead of a musical at Annoyance Theater. I'm a live performer. So like, if anything is scary to me, it's telling me to say exactly what you told me to say. I'm like, oh man, it's just like, I hear what you said and I love what you said, but also, can I say some more? Like, it's just, I'm a talker. I'm a natural talker. So, but no, I would say like once I started because I'm reading along with him while he's doing his parts. And when he started saying stuff that wasn't there or just like up in the ante and just hearing him do like different pauses and different inflections and just like being so animated with his voice, it was like a sense of relief. I was like, oh, okay, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I learned so much about everyone's process. And one thing I really respected about yours is that you really would pause just to say like, okay, what does she want right now? Mm-hmm. And I think that I felt confident that you were really going to process that motivation and then, ignite the dialogue in the right way. So I'm incredibly grateful for you being a part of this. And was it daunting at all? I mean, was this your first time doing like a scripted audio thing specifically where like you have to do one line so many times?
Well, I've done ADR for TV.
Okay.
And so you go into those studios and you be like, you do one episode and you in there like, I said no. Running, Brandi. I said no. They're like, well, you got to be sad while you running. I said no. When you do ADR, your mouth has to match what the fuck you said.
Yeah.
This wasn't matching the mouths. But I will say, I appreciated that it was somebody in there who was so familiar with the script and who was invested in the script, because it's so different from working with a script supervisor where they're just, what the line is, this. And it's like, I do that even when I'm acting. As a creative, as somebody who writes my own content and writes my own jokes, I know what I'm trying to convey. And so if you trust me to put me in that position to be the person to convey your message, I want to convey it to the best of my ability. I mean, like, yeah, I do that as well when I'm like acting for TV shows and stuff. Even if I feel like I know what's happening, I'll talk to the directors in the room. I got questions. I can never ask too many questions. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought that's what it was, but I'm just making sure. And I might read somebody having an argument just because, I like to argue.
So I know you from the Chicago comedy scene, and this ended up being like a weirdly like Chicago-centric show. Like Langston's from Chicago, Bashir's from Chicago. I remember one of the first things that you started talking about just naturally was like, what part of Chicago you're from. I think the only person of like the main cast is like George Wallace isn't from Chicago, and I don't think Keisha Sharp's from Chicago, but it's so many Chicago people. Rebecca O'Neill, who was one of the writers, and Ian Abramson. We all started out in Chicago together. But are you from Chicago? Because from what I know about your story is that you did a lot of traveling in your youth.
It's a difficult backstory. So my parents were in the military. We were Army brats, essentially. My biological mother, my grandfather, my whole mother's side of the family is from Chicago. So my mother grew up in Chicago. And because my mother and my grandmother and all of us grew up there, I did start school there. So I went to I started school in Germany. Then I went to like first and second grade in Chicago. Then we moved away. We went to Ohio, Texas, Kansas, all the other places. But we would always go there every summer. That's where my family was. That's where we spent the holidays. That's where my uncle is. That's where my aunts are, my cousins are. Once I got to high school, I continued to go. And I always knew I wanted to move there. Then I went to FAMU in Florida, graduated from there. Right after I graduated, I moved back to Chicago and stayed on the south side of my grandfather's building for like almost 8 years. And then I came to LA. Like, yeah, I'm Chicago. And I started comedy for real in Chicago. So I just say Chicago, especially when it comes to like the entertainment industry, because that's where I got like my chops and stuff. And like, there's not a place in Chicago that you could drop me off and I don't know where the hell I'm at and I'm not going to be good. But I mean, I went to high school and middle school in Florida. So.
Okay. How vivid are your memories of school in Germany?
I was like 5, so not too clear, but I do remember the school I started going to, pre-K, something like that. I remember feeling like an outsider.
I can imagine. That's I can.
Some American children went. It wasn't just like, all German kids, but for the most part, a lot of those kids, even American ones, they didn't look like me. And growing up in a Black household, my parents are together. I got a little sister. I just remember feeling like not like I didn't fit in. I remember even my babysitter, she was German. And a European looking German, like white girl. And I remember I don't know, I always didn't feel like I fit in. But I do remember this specifically, and I always tell people it's the first joke I ever told. My teacher called my mom to the school because she wanted to talk to her about my learning disability. She thought I was dyslexic. And so this German lady calls my mom to the school. She's like, yeah, and mind you, my mother had me when she was like 21 or something. So my mother's probably barely 30, if that, you know what I'm saying? She's like early 20 or late 20s. They call her to the school like, hey, we think Brandi, we need to talk to her about her learning. We think that she might be dyslexic. And like, she's showing her all this work I've done. I'm writing letters backwards, words backwards, everything. So my mom, she's a very Black Southside Chicago mother. She's like, my daughter not dyslexic. I taught her how to write her name before she came to this fucking school. The teacher's like, I don't think you did. And my mom goes, Brandi, write your name. And I wrote it the right way. And the teacher looked at me and she said, well, Brandi, why have you been writing everything backwards ever since you got here? And I looked at her and I said, I don't know. I thought it was funny. And that's literally like, I think I just felt out of place. And I also was bored because she was teaching them stuff I already knew. And so I would just be writing backwards.
I feel like that.
The fuck up.
That says a lot though, because it's like I already feel like an outsider, so why not write like an outsider? But then also you have this great scene that you did in Abbott Elementary, and that's all I was thinking about as you described this moment that your mom had with that teacher. Did that scene ring true to you in terms of what your mom's dynamic with authority figures in your life are?
My mother was more popular at my school than I was. Like I had the type of mother that she would walk down the hallway, everybody knew her name. And then when I would be with her, they would be like, why are you with Miss Grace? And I'm like, that's my mom. Like everybody knew her. She was at all the basketball games. She was my assistant basketball coach for a little while. I don't know why. She was everywhere. There was nothing that we did that she was not there for. So the parent on Abbott was a very like absent parent. It warmed my heart because she was actually a dispatcher for a 911 service. And my mother retired as a 911 dispatcher. And so the character that they had me playing had the exact same job as my mom, and they had me dressed like her. So when nephews seen it, I turned it on for my nephews who at the time were like, 3, 4, and 5, right?
Yeah.
So they're watching it and they're like, what? My mom goes, who is that? Thinking they're going to say Auntie Brandi. They said, Nana, that's you. Because I'm dressed like her. I got like the little wig on. I got the little, the little city office with all the landers on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was absolutely cool. And I remember Quinta, because she's a showrunner as well. And they were talking about like with the styling and stuff, and they were trying to like change my nails, and like she needed a bigger bag, and she needed this, and they were like, "Y'all, she's a lady who just came from work, who just stopped in quick to, like, her nails could look how they look." And I'm like, "My mother has this job." She said, well, "What kind of purse would your mom wear?"
That's great. Well, I'm wondering then, like you described this as your first joke.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that comedy was the first genre that called out to you as a kid, or was it something else? Was it basketball? Like, what was the first thing that, creatively was a spark for you as a kid?
If I had to say anything, I wouldn't even say it was comedy or it was just being on stage. I did everything on stage. Anything you can do on stage, I did on stage. Like anything. I mean, I was a dancer in college for a little bit. I did everything you could do on stage. I used to sing on stage. I used to do. I was in beauty pageants. I did poetry on stage. I've acted.
Oh,
Musical.
poetry. Okay,
Yep.
what's this? What's this poetry phase?
Poetry. Def poetry jam. The slam poetry where they was like, and then he touched me in my soul, and I rose. I was doing that for like 6 months in college.
You were doing it seriously. There was no comedic element. You were seriously doing.
I was serious.
Okay, I'm interested in this. What?
Well, you'll never hear anything, but yeah,
Well,
I did.
you know that both you. I mean, Langston. His last special was about his era as a poet. So I'm interested in this.
You went to school for poetry. I was in art. You got to think like this is back when like the neo soul India.Arie was out and everybody like
everybody's taking a long walk
my brown
around the park
covers the end of the world, like I used to say I had a whole photo shoot with like these braids and like this like wool. It was like a wool dress on type situation going on with a guitar. Do I know how to play a fucking guitar? No. I'm sitting with willow trees behind me and shit. Yeah, I don't know. I was still trying to like, and that's when I got these music notes behind my ear. It's like a treble clef and stuff. And that's when I got all these music notes. And I was like trying to go to the studio, and I was like also doing poetry, and I was like, so I was always on stage, but that's when I started going to those poetry slam things. I started seeing people do stand up. I said, well, that's what they're doing is way better.
Better in what sense?
Yeah, better in that the audience enjoyed it more. Nobody want to hear about, you fucking your cousin and having a baby. What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Okay, so the stage, what is it for you? What are you getting from just this general stage experience? Does it like this is just like it gives you all the necessary energy that you need?
That's a good question. Let me think. I feel like I just always thought that I never had any type of like shame or fear or anxiety about trying anything new. I was never embarrassed. So even if I got up there and I did something bad, I didn't give a fuck. Like, thanks for watching. Like I just had that as like my parents, my mother specifically, and like my godparents and just like the whole community that was around me, just my mom always told me you can ask anybody anything. All they could say is no to you. It was just it was like failure wasn't a thing where it was just like the end all be all of shit. It was just like, okay, well, all right, my whole and I even took that into stand up where people be like, oh, well, have you ever bombed? I was like, in the beginning I bombed, but I do not bomb now because it's like I just know what to say, but more, I take that back. I'm not gonna say I don't bomb. I have bombed and I do bomb. The point I'm making is, I think the reason it's easier for me to not bomb and not whatever, because I don't get so in my head. I don't get so calculated. Because my whole thing is, what are you going to do as an audience member? Beat me up for not being good? Having that type of fearlessness to do anything. I mean, I was in beauty pageants. I know I was motherfucking confident kid. I sang Whitney Houston, I Believe in You and Me, when I was 15 in the beauty pageant in this white ass town. They didn't even know that song. And I'm up there like Whitney Houston Jr. Okay. Probably didn't sound anything like that lady. And I didn't care. It was just like, well, this is what I want to do, and I feel good doing it, and y'all should get on board.
Okay, I feel like there's something in there in the sense that you mentioned having this feeling of being an outsider. There was a bit of travel, and now you have this way through going on stage of just kind of like amplifying that or shining a spotlight on that, because I feel like, when you're on stage, it's like seeking approval, but you are the outsider just by the simple fact that you're the only person on stage, so to speak.
Well, I'll tell you how that connects. The way it connects is, from the time I was 4 to the time I was probably 14, for 10 years of my life, we lived in so many different places. I went to a Catholic school. I went to a private school. I went to a public school. We lived in a trailer. We lived in a home. We lived on base. I was always put in these new places. And I just had to be very confident with who I was and be acclimated. Like you can't walk into all these different scenarios and be like, oh, I don't know who I am. And crisis at 8. My mother just always was just always made me feel good about who I was. And so I think because I knew who I was, what I would do, and I remember even doing this as a kid, I would kind of watch people and see how I could not change, but see how they were and how I could fit into that without changing who I am. Because there's certain people, there's friends you have around, like there's certain friends, especially comedians, they have very big. You walk into the room, they type A. They got to be the center of attention. And when I'm with them, I reel it in a little bit because that's their personality, and I let whatever. The best way I could describe it is, whenever you're doing improv, the best way to be the star of the show, Chris Red told me this, is to make sure that your scene partner shines. You're only as good as the person you're playing with. And so I think just coming up, I found a way to universally communicate with people that made them feel maybe seen, or just made me fit in, made my adjusting to these new environments easy. I know how to be charismatic. I know how to make people feel good about themselves. That was something that I had to learn at a young age, because I went from Germany to Ohio to Texas to Florida to Chicago. These are all very different places. I was called a nigga at 6. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be okay with being the only Black girl in the room and not let that define and dictate who you are. You just go find your people. So I think that, and then I went to FAMU, which was a Black school. Prior to that, I hadn't been around a whole bunch of Black people. And I told my mother, I said, I want to go to a Black school. I said, we weren't raised in Black environments. I wasn't around a lot of Black people. I need to go be around some Black people. And I went to FAMU, graduated, and I think that even up my self-esteem even more, because going to a Black school, and Obama came and spoke there several times. Michelle Obama came there. I remember somebody that graduated from FAMU was in Barack Obama's cabinet, and it's just seeing all these people who look like me doing all these things. And I was just I can do whatever I want to do. That added to it. But I definitely think, because I would say almost like a world traveler at a young age, and I was, submitted to so many different types of environments and different types of people, I think that it heightened my awareness on how to communicate with different types of people. And so I think even when it comes to stand up and things like that, I wouldn't even confine myself as an urban comedian or an alt comedian. I think I have a very worldly mainstream brand of comedy that just relates to other people, because I've been talking to new people my whole life.
Yeah. I feel like your style of comedy is very communal, but it's also very personal. It's like you hop on stage and you say, this is my life. And I think the best comedy is often conversational, just because if you're up there genuinely having some sort of conversation with the audience, that's the way that you don't bomb. when the audience can tell that you really wanted to laugh after a certain after a certain line, that gives them the opportunity just like to turn into a wolf.
You know what you're doing. You're trying,
Yeah.
you're trying to sneak a joke into this comedy set.
Which is like the weirdest energy. It's so weird that.
So weird. What are you trying? You trying to give me a punchline?
Yeah.
At this time?
Yeah, I feel like there's like a plague of like, I see what you did there energy, and I think that's annoying because it's like, I'm glad that you saw what I did there. That's why I did it. I'm on stage because I want you to see.
I'm here to showcase what I did there.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, but I don't like it when I know it.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of different things, all of it associated with the stage. Would you say that there was some sort of first craft that you pursued? Like, what was the first of those things?
I'll say this. I always talk about, I don't always talk about it, but the first creative thing I did that was not on stage, but it kind of led to the stage was, you remember when you had like those little, I'm telling my age right now, and yes, I look good for it, so shut up, y'all. So listen, you remember when they used to have like those little radio players and you could hit like play and record, record at the same time? I used to record like parody songs, like Alanis Morissette. Isn't it ironic?
Oh, yeah.
Gator boots. Like I would take when it came on the radio, I would hit record and then I would already have the lyrics written down to record my voice over their voice.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting
because I didn't have instrumentals. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you would record a parody of the song that you recorded.
That was already out. Yeah.
Okay. What? And do you remember any of those?
I don't know if this was one, but I remember I wrote this. I remember I wrote this in like maybe I was in the 7th grade. It was this white girl in my class. Her name was Kelly or something. And we were talking about like the seasons we loved. And she was like, I didn't like her at all. She raised her hand. I love summer. And I remember I wrote a song and it was like in the style of Alanis Morissette. And it was like, she said, let's say, I love summer, she says. Sure you do, but does summer love you? If you does, if it does, you sure in the hell can't tell. Not by the sunburn on your face. And like, that's all I remember. And then I drew a picture of her like getting sunburned. I was like, I had a notebook full of just roasting people.
Yeah. I think that what's interesting about that is that most people, I mean, like the general, white people wouldn't assume that a young black girl from Chicago would be listening to Alanis Morissette.
They're writing parodies. Like, sure you do. Does summer love you? I remember that one.
Yeah. So you that combines a lot of things. That combines a little bit of what turned into you doing poetry. That combines, you doing stand up, and the music vibes too. You mentioned, taking a photo with a guitar.
It did it all. I used to sing the national anthem in high school. I've always just been, that's crazy.
What is it that made you take the first official leap into stand up? I know you were going to a bunch of poetry open mics, and then that clued you into the idea of doing stand-up, but when did you start to really take it seriously?
I knew I was in political science, and I was really big on Wanda Sykes at the time. And I just thought her political perspective was just so funny. And I was getting a degree in political science. I was like, I want to be, and I had a minor in journalism, and I was like, I want to be a political journalist, but I want to be a funny one. I want to be CNN, like, look at this motherfucking White House. Ha 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 ha. Like, whatever. I remember reading one of her books. I can't remember the name of the book, but I read it. And I was like, oh. And I hate to say it, but like I read the book and I felt so inspired. I'm like, well, if she did it, I could do it. It can't be that hard. That's like, a lot of my friends will tell you I've been delusional most of my life. But I was like, yeah, she wrote a book. She told me what she did. It could be done. And then I still didn't know it was stand up. I was still, I had done a couple of editorials for like my college paper and stuff. I still didn't know it was stand up. But then I went with my friends to a comedy club and we were watching a comedian. I was sitting at the table and every joke he told, I like tagged it. They were at the table in tears, like, you need to. They were like, they walk up to him. They're like, he's like, oh, thanks for coming out. They're like, good show. You need to talk to her. She is funny. And I'm like, oh Lord, this is awkward. Like, me again? Like, because I've always been told I was like the funny one. Even in college, my friends would be like, you should do stand up, but I wasn't familiar with what that was. And so he was like, yeah, everybody wants to do stand up when they see somebody doing stand up. Fast forward 12 years, I headlined in Atlanta, and he came to my show, and he doesn't do stand up anymore. He's like in his 50s. I think he's in real estate. And he told me, he said, you made it further than I ever even dreamed I would make it. And he was just like, it's so dope to see you, and you've reignited something inside of me. And, to see you from the first time you ever got on stage, to see you doing this and seeing you on all these shows. He's just like, I am so proud of you. Because I remember at first he was like, oh, so you want to do stand up too? And I was like, yeah, I think I do. And now, 12 years later, he like, and you did.
So now that you've been doing, how long have you been doing stand-up now?
14 years.
14 years, yeah.
I took a couple years off. I took a year off to act. I took a year off for COVID. I took another year off for personal reasons. So I'm like 13, 14.
Okay. How do you feel about the state of the industry right now? And how does that affect your goals moving forward? Like what you have recently accomplished one of the first major goals of anyone in stand-up, one by having a special, and then two by doing a set on the Tonight Show.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of comics end up in a situation where you have those accomplishments, and then it's like, well, what is after that? Because that is such a pie in the sky goal for so long.
Well, honestly, I think you just start selling crack. So I'm start doing. Really, you know what I'm saying? I put it down in these comedy clubs. Now it's time to put it down on the streets. You feel me?
Is that your whole answer?
Period. I don't know what to do, man. You watching this podcast and you know what to do? Fucking tell me what to do, because I don't know. I don't know. Do I do this night again? I don't know what the fuck that is. These kids on TikTok don't even know what the fuck the Tonight Show is. Nobody watches Hulu anymore. I think I need to put my special on Reddit. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Anybody has it? Please let me know.
I think that in one sense, the game has changed so much where the only way to survive it is to go back to that impulse that made you do it in the first place, which is just like, I just want to connect with people. I just want the laughs. That's the only way to survive, it seems, because the bigger things just kind of don't exist. Like everything is just tiny versions, being dropped out on these different platforms. The bigger picture almost doesn't matter anymore. So you just kind of have to, it's just survival. It's just survival mode. I'm
telling you, like, really crack. So listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a peak in drugs. More people using drugs than ever. Might as well sell it. You're going to be the distributor or you're going to be the user? What you trying to do? Because I'm going to tell you right now, this comedy shit don't pay. Now, I don't know. That was a lot. No, for real, I just feel like being a creative, you always just shifting. You always shifting, whether it's because of the industry's making you shift, because you personally, you want to grow more, or you just want to test different limits and different things. You're never going to be in the same lane being stagnant. Sometimes you will be. Sometimes you'll be on a show like, I don't fucking know, whatever show's been on for 20 years, and that's just what you do. Those people are not real creatives. They are AI. So listen, I'm real, true creative. I don't ever want to be on the show for no fucking 10 years. What the fuck are we doing? But don't quote me on that, because if you got a show,
I'm trying to turn Judge Travis into a show, and you're saying like, write me out. Write me out of season.
That's so long. Like, Tim, can I do like 6, and then she get like shot up in the courthouse, like set it off like Chloe. She just like, day after day, cigarette, her nails all done.
Well, I think you say that now until you get the paycheck for doing that many seasons of TV.
And I will say this, for a show like that, that's authentically, genuinely funny. Yes, I've been on one season of a show, and they came back and was like, "This is the deal for the next season," and I was like, "This show got another season. They got another season. They got renewed." Like that, no, and it didn't get renewed. You know what I'm saying? It have to be something that I really enjoyed. It's something that I liked, and I feel like Judge Travis is definitely like a breath of fresh air. I was telling everybody, like, this is one of my most favorite projects I've gotten to work on because it's like everybody's so funny, everybody's so naturally funny. The script is also written excellently, and it's just like I was telling my girlfriend recently. I was just like, it's one of those shows where, like, I was like, girl, we were going in on like the late night talk show hosts. We had whole like fucking roaster. We just roasting the shit out of R. Kelly. I was like, nobody else lets you do that. I was like, this show is probably not going to be on NBC or ABC, HBO. This is FX. This is a good TV television network show. Okay.
I'm glad that you see the vision. And the more that you talk, I'm just like, what is a day in your life? It feels like you really are an in the moment kind of person. Like do you not think that?
You trying to say I don't got no discipline?
I'm I'm not saying that.
You're like, what's she doing? She not be running around.
No, I'm not saying you don't know what, but it's like you're working on so many different frequencies from, I mean, just from like the if I were to make a word graph, the word graph of what I expected going into this conversation and the word graph going out, like I wasn't expecting Alanis Morissette. I wasn't, I didn't even think to consider that, oh, you wanted to be a journalist at some point, all of these like interesting things. But then you also add this practical street level things, but like, maybe I should sell crack, things like that.
This is the product of a Southside Chicago woman traveling the world and going into the military. That's what you get right here. Okay. Yeah. My mother grew up in the projects and traveled the world, and married my dad, who was a very, very, very country man. And they are funny. They're just funny people. They can't take shit serious. They can't take me serious. But no. And then, I come from a corporate background too. So it's like, I know how to get shit done. But a day in the life, it depends, because the last 10 days I've been on tour. I was in a different city, 5 different cities in like 12 days. And I was very, very tired. But I'm just getting now back into my routine. You see, got my acai bowl. I went to a workout class this morning. Met this older Black lady. She's a lawyer. Her name is Barbara. She was in there talking about how she was going to sue the gym and she was going to call Barbara Gym. And so I love that. I joined this Black over in Inglewood. I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to send a couple emails. I got a refund today from a hotel. Do some corporate calls. Make some plans for my weekend. And then I'm going to a movie screening tonight. So most of the day is usually like office work, because as an entrepreneur, independent person, I mean, like, I'm not doing a lot of office work, but I'm still like texting my team, emailing my team, being like, hey, y'all doing stuff.
Yeah.
That, and then just trying to stay in the gym and trying to just like stay mentally strong, because it is hell.
So the last question of the show is like, how do you feel about that first pursuit now? You mentioned a lot of different pursuits, but I guess thinking back on, making those parody songs, but then also just like all the different things that you have done on stage before you started to focus on stand-up. What do you think about that journey? Like what's a through line for you? Is there any guilt in there? Is there any reservations about some of the paths that you took?
No, I think that everything that I did, even from like gymnastics to the pageants, I'm like 6 years old running around in gymnastics clothes. I didn't have any like, I never, because I was on stage in front of people so much at such a young age, like singing in the church choir, like being the lead, not even being the best singer, but just being the most confident to get up there and do it. Like just all of the things, it really kind of built me up to be this powerhouse of like rejection. No, people not liking me doesn't really bother me. And I think that that's so important. And I'm happy we're having this conversation, because I think I'm gonna call my mom afterwards and thank her, because I never ever felt like I never felt like and I got bullied. I got picked on a lot. I wore glasses. I had chicken pox. I had scars all over my body from it, but it never made me want to be less in front of people. It made me think them motherfuckers was crazy. Like, oh, y'all, because why are y'all Like, I'm like, this is just who I am. Why y'all? It created this self-esteem inside of me that I think has really allowed my career to flourish and go beyond where I even thought it would go. Because like when I do things now, it's not a question of am I going to do it? It's always a question of, well, when am I going to do it? Because I have this unshakable faith and belief that like everything I want to do will be done. Because up until this point, it has been done. I don't know. I'm like, dang, my mom was really dope because I used to get picked on a lot. I used to get picked on. I used to get bullied. I remember one time these girls like snatched my glasses off my face and like attacked me and like because I was always the new person and the outsider, and none of that made me want to like shut the fuck up and go be quiet. I was just like, y'all are. I'm like, put my glasses back on. Just so you know, y'all some fucking losers. Now who got a microphone, bitch? Like,
well, I feel like. I feel like what I'm noticing when I had that question about like what's a day in the life is that you have this great keeping it moving energy. Like it feels like, oh, I may have bombed here, but I got something else to do. It's always something else to move towards. And I wonder if you can. It seems like it's more of a feeling than a direct thing. Like you somehow have this North Star that you're constantly like moving towards.
I will tell you that has always been like my guidance and my direction. Like people were like, when I was leaving Chicago, I didn't know if I was going to New York or LA, and everybody's like, well, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? And I said, I really don't know. I said, I'm going to go what? No, and I said this. I said, I'm going to go where it feels right. And I went to New York and I went to LA, and I don't know. I came to LA. It's something like ignited inside of me. I saw one of my girlfriends shoot her first special, and I said, oh, this is where I'm going to be. And 6 months later, I moved here. And it is a thing. It is a like trust in self, like intrinsic trust in self. It's almost like somebody it's just like, oh no, I feel like this is what I should be doing. So being able to just trust myself, my own intuition, and like I said, I think also it helped me being the oldest child. It was nobody took me that I had to replicate or, like be performative for. I was the first. I'm the original Dundada, baby. Y'all need to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know all the secrets. Yeah, I think that's it. I know that's something that you post about quite often is this ongoing search for a husband. And I find that I think that this might be a clue into the poetic mind of Brandi, because outside of jokes, there will quite often be a lot of really, really sincere things that you're writing about what you're thinking about, what the future holds for you personally, things like wanting to be a mother and things like that. How I guess how is that search going, and how are you balancing that with all of the creative things that you're pursuing?
I had slowed down on the search. I think I was just trying to take a beat to kind of recalibrate myself. I think I'm gonna get more serious about it next year, and I think because I am more serious and more clear, I'm coming in with intention and not and looking at the incompatibilities or compatibilities early on, and also being realistic about the things that this person needs to have and the things that I do have. So just being more like, oh, this, and not being like in a malicious way or anything like that. It's just like, oh, I've had such a great time with you, but this piece just doesn't fit the puzzle that I'm building. So that's just like, people always just think it's all whimsical and love and feelings and all of that. And I'm like, no, you need to be my friend for real, because this ain't easy.
I feel like
married for like 35 years and they really fucking like each other. They're both retired. They always on a cruise. And when they not, they calling me and being like, well, we going to Valdosta this weekend. What y'all going to do? Watch a football game? They just really like each other. That's
great. I don't even know if I realized it. I think, we wrote all of these Judge Travis episodes without knowing who was going to fill the role. And I think that, as the process of making the show has gone on and seeing some of the things that you're posting about and thinking about, it's like, oh, the character Raquel is really aligned with that specific search, as well.
Let's say I don't think I'm as, you know what? I don't know. Because she seemed like she might be looking for something, but she seemed like she down for a good time too. She like, I know this ain't gonna be shit, but we gonna have a good time. So I might be a little more serious because I do want a family, and so you just gotta kind of lock in a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm more intentional about like going to mixers and going to places I want to meet them. I don't want to meet them at the club, standing on top of a section, popping bottles, pouring champagne on my head.
Yeah, how mom, dad, how'd you meet? Yeah, it's a funny image.
Yeah. First of all, 50 Cent Make It Rain was playing. Then your mother got a bottle of Moet. She, what they call it, she did the boat on him. What they call it, the boat. You know what they call it?
I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest.
The steam. But you know what I'm talking about when somebody pours the drink in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
I forgot the something boat, steamboat. I don't know.
And that's the show. Big thanks to Brandi Denise for joining me. You can get more information about her at brandidenise.com. That's Brandi with an I at the end, not a Y. And next episode, I'll be talking to Rebecca O'Neill, the writer of episode 4 of Judge Travis. Freddie Nunez created and sings the You Are the Genre theme song, and Adam Smith produced it. And if you happen to be a paid subscriber to the newsletter associated with this You Are the Genre podcast, you'll get early bird episodes and so much more. This is Tim Barnes signing off with your weekly reminder that you are the genre.
First I got your voicemail, then I got you. We can meet in person or maybe on Zoom. So tell me what's your genre, tell me what do you do. I'd like to know the things that specifically